The economic meltdown is having a mixed effect on the sale of luxury brands in India. The crisis has put a dent in consumer spending power.
As far as my knowledge of economics goes, there is no recession in the country when you have 5% year-on-year growth in your GDP. Recession happens only when you start showing the negative growth. There is a slowdown, but it has not come to chroma as yet. It has come to certain pockets of the industries, and our partners in putting or the rolling out the stores are the builders and their community. We see a little slowdown coming into the real estate, but we haven't seen this slowdown coming into the state.
Slowdown of the economy has adversely affected a few big brands across Mumbai, but mostly the bigger brands are coping with the situation and waiting for a stable economy. They are coming up with new shopping outlets like the Loot, but somewhere their sales have gone down too.
Since early 2002, the U.S. dollar has lost about a third of its value against other major world currencies. Some market watchers see an even more precipitous drop in the dollar's future. One of those men, Peter Schiff. He's the founder and president of Euro-Pacific Capital and author of Crash Proof: How to Profit from the Coming Economic Collapse. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Strong words, economic collapse. What's collapsing and when's it going to happen? Why?
Well, I think the dollar is going to collapse, and with it, basically the American standard of living and the way of life that we all are accustomed to.
A year ago, Ben Bernanke, the head of the Fed, Hank Paulson, head of the Treasury, even the president said the subprime crisis was going to be contained.
Founder and fund manager David Tyson Associates joining us from Dallas this morning. Hi, good morning there, David.
Glad to be here.
Well, before we get to your very certain predictions on recession, I do want to get your reaction to what's going on in the markets right now. What is really driving investors right now to sell, or is it just momentum selling going on?
A mere reflection of the value of the dollar. If you want to control prices, then you have to know the value of the dollar. But if you're going to avoid talking about the dollar, then all you can do then is deal with central economic planning. You know, if we stimulate the economy, maybe there'll be production and prices will go down.
What is happening with the economy is God's judgment on this nation for our sins. Congress just spent $700 billion to fix the problem. It didn't help. The government's buying billions of dollars of corporate paper to open up the credit markets. It didn't help. The Fed cut the prime lending rate by half a point. It didn't help. The smartest economists in the world are trying to find answers, but they can't. That's because there are no man-made answers. This is not an economic problem. It is a spiritual problem. The answer isn't dollars. It's turning back to God and to His truth.
According to a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers, India is likely to grow to 90% of the U.S. economy by 2050. According to a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers, there could be a tectonic shift in the global economic center of gravity. The size of India's economy would grow to 90% of that of the United States by 2050, and China would become even bigger than the world's current largest. The report said that the global center of economic gravity is already shifting to China, India and other large emerging economies, and analysis suggests that this process has a lot further to run. PwC, the global advisory firm, projected that Brazil seems likely to overtake Japan by 2050 to move to the fourth place, while Russia, Mexico and Indonesia all have the potential to grow economically larger than Germany or the UK by the middle of this century. India has emerged at the top of the gross domestic product growth table ahead of China. India's GDP, which is currently growing at 8.5%, is expected to slow down to 5.8% in 2050, but still remain ahead of other emerging and developed economies.
Yeah. This is Bad Mash. And this is the real Bad Mash.